The development of ourselves comes in many ways. We would experience something so emotionally moving in different ways from the stuff we experienced, what we watched, or what we saw. A specific type of childhood development that we experience as a child is cartoons. They are our earliest introduction to the media as a child and gave us a groundwork into the development of our future selves. This is done through tactics such as educational cartoons, good morals, and relatable characters, which will help the brain go 3 times bigger and enhance memory by 65% is what professionals say. To show how this is true, I did an interview with one of my classmates on how the cartoon and brand Ninjago made him the way he is today. We gave a brief overview of what Ninjago is. First, Ninjago is a Lego brand turned cartoon based off a revamped ninja Lego toy brand. The story is about ninjas of different elements learning the ways of Spinditchu while also fighting the forces of evil in the world of Ninjago. At the start of the investigation, I started off by asking Logan the important question on how he got introduced to Ninjago. This is what he had to say.
Actually, so I was on holiday in Spain, and we were just watching kids' channels.
In Spanish or in English?
It was in Spanish, yeah.
Oh.
And Ninjago came on, and I thought, oh, this is good. I enjoyed it. And then when I was over my grandparents' house once, I turned on the TV and it was on. I was like, oh, I remember this. And then I sort of just watched the show ever since.
As you can see, he was introduced in a non-traditional way to Ninjago in a foreign setting. I feel that when observing footage of Ninjago through a non-English perspective, I can see that the appeal of the show is based on the captivating CGI that features a lot of intriguing Lego designs, nice bright colours and overall slick movement. With these factors that don't consider dialogue, Logan's reasoning is realistic. To expand upon this, I talked to Logan more in depth about the show in the next 2 questions. The first part of the question is what keeps him coming back to the show. There was a lot to this answer, so I'll divide into 2 sections. The first reason as to why Logan got back into Ninjago was because of the nostalgia of it.
I think we were in Spain for my 7th birthday?
7th birthday then?
I think, yeah.
So it's been nearly 10 years since you've been watching Ninjago.
Yeah. Because I've watched it for so long, that it's like, oh, I recognise this thing. I can go back and, I can watch and know what's going on.
This ties back into the previous question, as I asked him about the age when he watched Ninjago, which he said was around 7 when he watched it. This is what allowed him to become enveloped in the prime of the show due to him being the right age for it. This was why Logan has much nostalgia for Ninjago. The second reason as to why Logan keeps going back to Ninjago is because of the new gimmicks that happen each season.
And I guess the fact that each season's got like a new gimmick or something like that, something new to keep you coming back.
To explain the show, there are gimmicks in the show's lifespans to change the formula up. This has ranged from the cyber world to a tournament to sky pirates and other gimmicks. Gimmicks like these are what keeps a child interested due to how the show keeps changing up every season to keep them invested. I feel that both answers tie in well with one another as they contribute to the reasons as to why Logan keeps going back to the show. The third question I talked about was a definable aspect about Ninjago that Logan enjoyed. He said the following.
The lore, and the backstory behind the lore.
What do you mean by the lore specifically then?
Like, how the world of Ninjago was created, all the different their powers in it, whether those come from, where the different, everything that's happened, in the past.
Lore in the show, like these, drives more older people like teenagers into the fold. Their minds will already be developed by then, and rewatching the show would feel more satisfying for them to watch as opposed to when they were younger. The main example that he gave with the lore was with the Lord Garmadon and Master Wu story.
The Wu and Garmadon in the show, because they're brothers, one's good, one's bad. And their backstory, with their father and everything. So there's not a lot known about it. You've never seen his face in the show. It's kind of you always see him from the back, or if you see him from the front, you don't see his head.
The story of Lord Garmadon and Master Wu is deep enough to appreciate more when you're older to understand the subtle nuances of the storyline more. To go more in depth, I asked him about what his favourite character from the franchise was, and Logan chose Shane, which I find fascinating. He said he chose the character because he finds it very fascinating and relatable to him.
I was thinking of Shane anyway.
Yeah, because...
Why is that then?
Originally it's sort of like... I thought he was just different to the others, like because they had like an episode where he was like sort of like an outcast.
Elaborate on why he's different then. I know he's an outcast though, but specifically why.
He sort of like acts actually weirdly.
Yeah.
Other than the other ninja. And then you like to find out that he's a robot. That's why he's different.
Now the concept of a robot pretending to be a human is always a unique sci-fi concept in media, as it's always been presented in multiple media formats. Logan's reasoning makes sense, and this character puts a wrinkle in the ninjago format and makes it so more interesting due to the added layer of complexity and mystery surrounding Shane as a robot. To expand on this more, I went deeper in the conversation by asking the reason why he chose Shane.
Like with him being an outcast, that's somewhat relatable. Like, but when I was younger, I didn't really feel like as I more older, I felt more like that. Like even when I weren't friends, I sort of just felt like, oh, I'm kind of just here, like not really contributing to much. So that, like relatable, I guess that would help mold me. So like, oh, Zane was like that. I'm now experiencing this.
Now I feel that chosen Shane was understandable, as since I was ninjago, I too found myself relating to Shane because we were opposites to the rest of the world. We were calculated, we were focused, and most importantly, we were awkward. I feel this also applies to Logan as well, and me, because me and Logan kind of share the same personality due to how we both act like this and admire Shane for being somewhat of a representation of us. This makes Shane's relatability reach more known outside of just one person. For question 6, I asked a question that most older people would talk to kids. What important life lesson you learned about the show? For what was the most important life lesson Logan learned altogether? This is what he said.
Because they got the whole thing, ninja never quit.
Yeah.
That's probably the best like life lesson.
Why?
Like, just don't give up. Which I should try and take on more.
The most important lesson to Logan was the always universal, never give up. Abbreviated as Ninja Never Quit, it was the most important lesson he learned from the show. The most interesting thing I found out about this was how Logan kept trying to practice his technique more. This engaged me the most. This point is kind of source of Gen Z rebuilding themselves during COVID times. The development was hampered with them being locked indoors. This made Gen Z less optimistic than the previous generation, as I feel that this ties into the message that Logan keeps thinking about, which is a message of never giving up. The next question is greatly tied to the use of gratifications, as this question as I asked about if the show diverted.
It's got a lot of like fantasy elements in, like with the different seasons. It's got different like things like sci-fi or like other loads of different genres in it. The unrealistic bits are like help divert me, and that's what I find interesting.
Okay then, so you find the
fantastical elements are always prevalent in half the TV shows we watch today and from the past, and Ninjago was no exception. I feel that what Logan said kind of shows the fast fantastical elements in the show can take us away from reality. When watching the show in chronological order, you can see that there is always a new fantastical element introduced each season as stated previously before. Since the show has been going on for so long, it can allow for a longer term engagement since the show has gone for so long, meaning that they expand on these elements more. Though Logan didn't go in depth emotionally as to why it diverts him, I feel that from what he said overall was interesting enough to know about Logan's diversion, even if it wasn't deep. To come near to the end of this questionnaire, I asked Logan the most important question overall, with what ninjago means to him overall. This was his response.
As a whole, probably them being heroes, so like help others, don't sort of judge people based on like first impressions, like give them second chances, and obviously the ninja never quit thing, don't give up.
Yeah.
So I guess as a whole I would take all of that.
Weirdly, I didn't expect Logan to say this, as I thought he would continue about the fantastical elements of Ninjago, but instead the important life lessons from the show. These messages are important in cartoons, and I feel that the ones that Logan mentioned, like help others, don't judge people, and the message of Ninja Never Quit being important, and tying to the resistance and teamwork that Logan developed over the years to where he is today. The final question from the questionnaire to Logan was, did you introduce any other people to Ninjago? Which is more of just a broad question on if Logan went out of his way to get people interested in his media. He said this.
I've tried.
You tried?
But I don't think it's been successful.
How come it hasn't been successful?
One of my friends, I did start rewatching the show with them, but we never continued watching it.
Why?
So just whenever I'd ask, so it'd be like, oh no, I don't watch the show. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, this was kind of a failure. I think people who are friends with you aren't going to like the same stuff as you. To quote what I said, Ninjago is a niche subgenre, which is true, as Lego is generally seen as more for kids and doesn't really fit well into what teens watch or like. Overall, I feel that I got a lot out of Logan with how Ninjago made him what he is today. I felt that with that, the answers with Ninja Never Quit, Sane, and his creativity outside of college makes Logan into one of the most interesting people in my class.